Welcome to the Goof and Goober Show. You decide who's the goof and who's the goober. Join Matthew and Regan as they talk all things from their own personal life questions to reviews on movies and TV shows. Now, your hosts, Regan and Matthew.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 17 of the Goof and Goober podcast. The Goof and Goober Show podcast. Every Monday, 8 o'clock, we start streaming. We start recording. We have a pre-show starting at 8 o'clock every single Monday. We talk about some juicy stuff. Today, we talked about marketing. We talked about some SEO, some good old stuff. Trying
to reel me in.
Stuff, some freaking good old stuff. And so make sure you're there next time, because you're not going to be able to access it any longer.
That's true.
Today,
we should stop that.
We're gonna get rid of it, but for the sake of people's relationships outside of here, today I've got Regan with me. I am back. I was on a hiatus last week. Had some stuff I had to deal with. Had to deal with some personal things, some mental things. And so I'm super glad to be back.
Hey, it's okay to not be okay. Okay, Matthew? Okay, but let me just say this. Actually, from the bottom of my heart, from last week. I missed you, man. And I love you. And I'm so glad I have you as one of my best friends in my life. And I'm glad I get to do this every Monday with you and have these in-depth, good conversations. So just wanted to let you know. And, last week we were talking about Jonathan and David. If you listened to last week's episode.
Quran?
Yeah, from the Quran. No. From the Bible, yes, that's the book for me. The very first mass-produced book in the world. So, the Bible.
To Kill a Mockingbird? Okay.
Yeah, First Samuel, and there's a part in there that talks about Jonathan and David. David, the guy who slayed freaking Goliath with his freaking rope or a slingshot, basically. But Jonathan and David basically make a friendship oath that they loved each other as they loved their own body. It was kind of a weird kind of thing, but it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And there is a type of relationship that you have. Another, like, you have your wife and your relationship that comes above, like, mostly all relationships except your relationship with Christ. But then there's this third relationship that I think that the Bible kind of hits on, not a whole lot, but it does, especially here in Jonathan and David, where they show that type of friendship that they have. And I think that's the type of friendship I have with you. I mean, I give that type of vibe to you. I don't know if you give that vibe to me. No, I think, I mean, hopefully. I mean,
Yeah. No, I think I know what you're meaning by that.
Okay, good. I didn't know if you reciprocated it back to me that you loved me. And
yeah, but my thing is, I don't want to make anybody jealous, So, but yeah, definitely, man. Brother in Christ, man. Always have. You're like a little kid. You're like my child.
Oh, shut up.
You're like my teenage child that grew up, got married, and now is living on his own.
I mean,
it's crazy. Even though you're
kind of. But I'm not
Backstory.
Your brother. Or your little brother or your son.
Backstory here. So Regan came back to college. I was
in like my 20s when I was 27.
Yeah. He was 27.
26, 27.
Yeah, 26, 27, 25. 2018.
No, is it 2018?
Yep.
5 years ago?
Yeah, man.
That
Yeah.
doesn't feel real.
Yeah. Regan was an old little. He was pretty old compared to a lot of people that I was with.
Really old.
Really, really old.
Really, really old.
But Regan was a single guy. Just got recently, let go of his relationship.
Really,
They
I was just
fired.
recently divorced. Yes.
Yeah, recently divorced. Really didn't have a place to stay, and I heard he was living out of his car, and I said, no, sir, that's not going to happen. You can come live with me.
And that's how our relationship started, basically.
Yep.
Pretty much. I mean, we knew each other
you were living with
before.
Brewster. You were living with old Brewy.
Oh, that's right.
And I provided you with a ton of food because I heard you didn't have. You were like bumming food off of people, so I gave you a bunch of food, like frozen meat and a bunch of. And you stored it in the freezer.
I had a meal plan, but yeah, I can't remember what I did, but I remembered I was living in my car, and then I can't believe I did that just to go back to school, and I had a son at the time too, but I was committed to go back to school, dude. I was like, I got to go back to school.
Yep.
And I did that, got my degree, but like in doing so, I didn't have a whole lot of money. I didn't want to take out a lot of loans. So I tried to take out as minimum as possible loans. And I would live in my car, basically, so that I didn't have to pay for housing, because housing was a huge expense. And although the college did get mad at me because I was couch hopping, as per se, in dorms. And I I did try to sneak into a dorm and just take on a room, but that was a big no. I thought I can't believe I did that. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot.
How long did you stay in that room?
Not that long, like 3 days, I think, is how long I stood. And then all my stuff got moved, and I was like, what the heck? And then that's when I was like, oh, I gotta move it. And who did I give my TV to? Loreno, I think it was, because I had a 50-inch TV, 55-inch or something like that. And I gave it to Loreno, one of the football guys, and everybody. And then Jesse also wanted it, or one of her buddies who came on the show a little bit ago. And yeah, dude, I can't believe I did all that crap. That's crazy. Thinking about that now, I was like,
yeah, feels like yesterday.
It feels really
like
does.
yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I took him in. He stayed with me and lived with me for almost 2.5, almost 3 years, for the most part.
Pretty much.
And then I had to tell him, I was like, man, you got to take a leap of faith, man. You got to get the hell out of my house right now. Get out. Get out of here.
We don't accept your car in here.
We don't like you guys anymore. No, but yeah, little kid. He's like my teenager. He turned 18. He went off, got his own place.
Man, now.
Just look at him. Just look at him.
Freaking.
He wouldn't be where he is today. Without me.
Did it, man.
Or Jesus, actually. Well, Jesus more than me.
Amen.
I just felt the calling.
Well,
to be honest with you.
That's for sure. Jesus is the only way.
Jesus is a friend of mine. I have a friend named Jesus. Jesus is a friend of mine.
And I have a friend named Jesus.
Oh. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Regan and I on Saturday, we went to go see Evil Dead Rise. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about it, but we don't want to give this movie very much light, just because it's not. how do I explain this?
it's a
just
weird-
a very demonic
Yeah.
type of movie.
And they purposely make it like that. It's not like we're saying it's like a bad or like they
it was
purposely,
a well-made movie.
Yeah, that they
I will say
intentionally
that.
made demonic, and it was a well-made movie. But we went into it didn't knowing that it was a demonic movie. We thought it was a zombie movie, and and I can't believe it. Like at the beginning, I thought, oh, this girl's gonna turn into a zombie. Nope, she was demon possessed. I'm like, oh gosh, no, this
Yep.
isn't happening. And yeah,
So we're not going to talk about this one for very long, but we are going to give some. We're going to talk some spoilers. We're going to talk about a little overview of the movie.
Mhm.
And then we're going to talk about some other stuff.
Ooh.
So this is your official spoiler warning, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, come back and listen to our thoughts. If you don't care, stay around.
I would suggest just listening to what we have to say with the spoilers, because I mean, if you, I guess it's up to you,
Actually, yeah, honestly, like this movie is. I mean,
guys.
you don't even need a spoiler warning. There's nothing. No, you know what? I'm not. I'm taking away the spoiler warning.
Take
I'm gonna
it
take it
away,
away.
dude. Take it
I'm
away.
taking it away. We're gonna spoil it,
Listen to this,
and it's not even a spoil.
100%.
So, give us your quick little overview synopsis.
Me?
Just your quick your rating of it.
Oh, my rating. The
Or,
synopsis.
Here, you know what? I'll read a synopsis and then you can give your rating.
Like, this is
So
yours.
right now, Evil Dead Rise has a 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Excuse me. Ooh, a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. And then a 70% on Fandango. Synopsis: reunion between two estranged sisters get cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons. Well, there's the demon part. We just didn't read the freaking synopsis. Thrusting them into a battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. It was directed by Lee Cronin. Looks like, was this a game or something? Oh, it looks like it was a movie at one point. Evil Dead was another movie. Looks like in 1981.
No, that's not the one. Evil Dead is a freaking
It's saying
zombie
it's
movie.
adapted from this movie.
There's no way that was adapted from Evil Dead. Evil Dead is
It literally says adapted from the Evil Dead. That's what it says.
Okay.
I'm just reading what it says. All right. Starring Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, Lily Sullivan as Beth, Morgan Davies as Danny, Gabriel Eccles as Bridget, Nell Fisher as Cassie, Billy Reynolds as Jake. Quick little overview, I guess. I'm gonna give this thing a 1 out of 5. From a okay, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 overall. Not because this was a bad movie, if you will. It's just I can't deem something very high, when it promotes like demonic and forces. I don't want to promote it. I really don't want anybody to go see this movie, to be honest with you, unless you don't really care. The devil works in weird ways, right? He can grab you from multiple different angles, and I feel like this movie was like, oh man, I was just like very freaked out the entire movie.
Yeah.
From a movie making standpoint, the only reason I have it as a 2 overall is the movie itself was a very well made movie. The actors and actresses sold me, absolutely sold me, killed it. Okay, they did a very good job. Okay, terrified. Um, the the videography, top tier. I think it was very, very good. Definitely hit you in not just jump scares, but like building of the story, building of the tension. They did a really good job. I actually felt like there was less jump scares than what I was expecting, to be honest with you. I was just actually terrified of the movie. I was just actually terrified, not like jumping out of my seat every 2 seconds like most scary movies do. But yeah. So I have a little bit of a biased rating, 2 out of 5. But that's just because I truly don't want people to go see this movie because I don't want you to open up anything or
Yeah, because that was.
accidentally get your mental in the wrong space.
I mean,
get
that
your
was
heart in the wrong
the
space.
question that we had at the end of the movie. Kind of, we talked about a little bit. Did we think that we could be influenced demonically through this movie? And like our intentions weren't to thinking. We thought this was going to be a zombie movie, and it was kind of our bad being not doing our due diligence of looking into this.
Yeah.
We just kind of like, well, let's go see a movie, and we just like picked one out. Didn't really look too much into it, and it's kind of our fault. And but that brought up a good question of, do you think that you could be demon possessed, if you just go to watch this movie? If we could have been demon possessed, and that was a question we had to ask ourselves. We had to deal with.
I think the stipulation or the thing that we finally like agreed on at the end was that you could absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always that chance, but you know,
No.
Jesus' name is just so much more powerful than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where in the movie, okay. So in the movie, we'll kind of talk about how it kind of happened. So in the movie, it's staged as this family. Okay, this family is poor. They live in this old bank, and the mom and the kids were at home just hanging out, having a good night. All of a sudden, um, the mom's sister comes over, and we get some context that she hangs out with the band. They call her a groupie. She just has sex with people in the band, I guess.
She does not. That's not what she.
And it's like an ongoing. It's like an ongoing joke, is what I'm saying with her.
Oh, I don't think it's a joke, but
you don't think it's a joke? You think it was real?
no, I don't think the mom just thought she had no idea what else to say, so she wasn't like trying to do a joke. She was just saying.
Yeah, she was just saying she's a groupie. But
she was just saying she was a groupie, but
so she's pregnant. She's pregnant. Spoiler: she's pregnant. You find that out pretty early. But basically, what happens is the sister comes over and the mom's like, "Kids, go. I need to talk with my sister. You guys go grab some pizza." They go down to the parking ramp, and all of a sudden, a earthquake happens, and then there's a hole at the bottom of the bank, or at the bottom of the parking lot. Then, and it leads into an old section of the bank that it's like literally underneath. It's like a hidden part of the bank. And so come to find out, the boy, the son, Danny, I think is his name, he ends up finding this book. This book is the book of death, or the book of killing, or something like that, or book of murder. I don't know, something of that. And he takes it back, steals a bunch of stuff, takes it back to his room, found some records. He uses the records, and long story short, he plays the records, opens up the book, and this spirit comes out. And one of the big things that the reason why I say, hey, this may not be a good thing for people to listen to or watch, is in the movie they say in the as they were using the speaker for the records, is that the Catholic priests, the people who are exorcists, people who are using the name of God to cast out this demon, it did not work. It did not work. And so that is a really big red flag. And something that people should be aware of is that, like, as it says in the Bible, Jesus cast away demons all the time when he was alive, walking down the street, casting away demons, literally. And it is just by the name of Jesus that he was that people were able to do that. And so it kind of puts in my opinion, puts a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, holy crap! Like they're already starting with this. Like, there's no demon greater than Jesus. There's no demon greater than God. And this movie's literally saying, no, there is, basically.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's something that if you are dealing with any doubt, as we all do, dealing with doubt, dealing with fear, dealing with depression, that is something that can pull you away and could open your heart to that type of danger.
Yeah.
So that's just my thought. That's kind of a little bit. I kind of gave you pretty much the full beginning there. But yeah, the rest of the movie is literally just like the kids being dumb, making dumb decisions.
Gosh,
like really dumb decisions.
That's horror movies.
Fighting.
Though. That's just horror movies. Just people making a bunch of dumb mistakes, and you're just like, why?
Yeah, literally in the movie theater, I was like, stop! Why are you? No, don't do that. Why? Like, it's just, it was dumb, but
sense.
Honestly, like I said, I don't want to give this movie too much light, to be honest with you. Again, viewers' discretion is advised. It is a very scary movie. It has very dark elements to the movie. At the end of the movie, all it does is it flaps through the book at the end of the movie. So it literally shows the pages of demonic entities. What happens to the people getting their souls ripped out, throats being ripped apart, demons eating people. So it's like, viewers' discretion advice. Open your heart up to something like that. It's very, very dangerous, and I do not recommend that to anybody. Last thoughts. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about it.
Nobody does. I think for me, my rating on this kind of reciprocates, probably like a 1.8, and it's not necessarily it was a poorly made or anything like that. It's just that I would never choose to go see this, and because I believe what I believe. Did. I know. I mean, like, purposely choose to go see this type of movie. Like, we thought it was a zombie movie, but anyways, but yeah, it was just. Anyways, like, what I would say is that because what I believe that demons are real, and I don't want to really put myself in those situations, I would never really choose to go see this because I truly believe that demons are real. And I believe you do too. And what we, kind of involving myself in that type of stuff is not good. And being involved in that kind of stuff, because I don't want to be involved in that, because I believe that in Jesus' name, that his name is powerful and that will rid anybody, any demons or anything that is listening, or that there's power in Jesus' name is what I'm trying to say. And because of that, yeah. I just saw my cat. I thought my cat was over here, and then I saw, I don't know. Anyways, and but what I think is that I'd rather not get to that point where I would have to do that. I mean, I will do it. I believe that it happens and I can use it. And there's been times in my life, even when we were at the movie, I called out the name of Jesus just because I was scared. or because I felt like there was some type of possession or demon around me, or some type of evil spirit around me, and I used
You
that,
did?
and it, yeah, 100%, 100%,
Hmm.
yes, and because of that, I think, I'd rather not get to that point, and I wouldn't rather not purposely put myself in those types of points. And I think is what the problem is when you do purposely put yourself into those situations, because when you put yourself into those situations, I think that's what opens your heart up to demons to come into your life and take and possess you. That's where you have to be very careful with demons, because it's all a hard issue, 100%.
It is 100%.
So that's my opinion on it. I think I think it was a the actors were well. The people, the cinematography, whatever you call it, was really good.
Cinematography,
The cinnamon was really good.
cinnamon toast crunchography. Now the real question is,
Oh gosh.
don't, it's okay.
Why would you do this in the middle of a podcast? You've done this twice. This is the second time you've done this in the podcast.
Where I raise and lower my desk. That's because I was getting into it, man. I was freaking getting into it. So the real question is now that what's the difference between going and watching something like Evil Dead Rise and The Pope's Exorcist?
That's a good question, because that's an interesting question. We think we've talked about that in our car ride about that. I think the main difference is in this one, there's not necessarily a light at the end of the tunnel. And
There's
this
what?
one, I think this in the Evil Dead Rise, that one, there's not necessarily a light at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing that really can, like, there isn't a power that they're showing, that there is no power that can make.
There's nothing greater than that.
Right. They're saying that the demons are the powerful the beings, and Jesus isn't. The Pope Exorcist, I should be careful because I haven't seen the Pope Exorcist and I have no idea what that's about. But the reason why I would be willing to go see it, is because I feel like the Pope Exorcist, there is that light at the end of the tunnel, that because Jesus' name is being spread technically in that setting, making demons flee and everything like that, that's what's happening. And yeah, I guess that's the main reason why I'd be okay with it. But I think you have a good point in that I shouldn't put myself in those situations, in any situation like that. Because I'm
thinking it's in. I agree. I think I agree with you. Is that I think the big difference is Jesus is apparent in the movie more. Like this one, they literally say in the beginning, the popes, they couldn't do anything. Nothing worked. They all died. They all like no one could figure out how to stop this thing.
right.
And I just feel like, and this is maybe my thought, is that hopefully at the end is that they cured. I don't know if it's a cure, if it's they're exorcising this demon out.
Well, I think it's pure evil to think that evil wins.
Exactly. That's exactly. That is well put.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
That's well put.
Thanks, dude.
Regan's been working on that, by the way. He's very self-conscious, guys, about what he says, how he says it. And, I'm proud of you. That was actually really well stated. It's pure evil to think that evil only wins.
Yeah. And I think that's what you got to be careful about, because that's wrong. If you think that,
Like, yeah, at the end of the movie, we felt like, oh man, they're gonna get away out of Evil Dead, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, the prologue to this movie is the ending of what we just watched. You know, like,
Mhm. Yeah,
so
because
that
they
is,
don't get away, and it just keeps going, and because they opened it up, like, but that's that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we get. I don't know. But that, yeah, there's, and that's what the Bible is against. That it teaches that the evil doesn't win.
yeah.
And that's why I think it's a movie we didn't like. We didn't necessarily enjoy, as well as why we probably would enjoy the Pope Exorcist, because they're doing exorcists in the in the context of good prevails. Good will take over, and I think that's probably why I would probably be more willing to go see the Pope Exorcist. But I think you have a good point in the sense that we do need to be careful about what we put ourselves, like, what
Like,
we
I would have preferred to go in if I knew about it. Then I would be like,
expose ourselves to.
okay, let's pray before we go in. Let's be
Yeah.
prepared. You know what I mean? Like, pray a
Well,
blessing over us. Like that.
And well, afterwards, could
We
I
did.
mean, we
Yeah,
prayed,
yeah,
because
we did.
we were like, I feel like there's something on this whole thing, and I feel like we needed to pray, because it was one of these movies that you're like, ugh, gross. And I think we had to talk a little bit about it, just to get out, what we were dealing with, and which was the deal with the movie saying that demons win in the end, and that's wrong, 100% wrong, about what Jesus talks about, what the Bible talks about, that what God's intentions were, and that God's intentions weren't for evil to win. God's intentions aren't for evil to win, and it's His will, and He's way more powerful than any demon. So
Yeah.
it's just like, we needed to pray, and we felt like could have been a spirit possibly there, and I felt like, we prayed out in Jesus' name.
Yep. I think I felt good the rest of the night, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, we freaking casted out we kicked that freaking demon butt.
Yeah, we
That's
did.
for sure, man.
Yeah, we did. But I would say, like,
In the name of Jesus.
if we did go, like, I'm curious to see it, because
The Pope
I think,
Exorcist.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious to see it because Russell Crowe, first off,
Yeah,
the guy's he's a phenomenal actor.
he's a freaking baller.
The trailers, I mean, it looks scary, obviously, but I think, and this is a suggestion, I guess, maybe, moving forward, is anytime you expose yourself to something like that, is to always maybe pray beforehand, and put a blessing over yourself and say, hey, God, I'm gonna go watch this for maybe some entertainment value, or I'm gonna go see it to put it off the bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
But I just pray that you protect me, as you always do. Put us in your light, and don't let this movie open up anything that shouldn't be open.
Right.
But it also comes back to, if you go freaking use like a Ouija board or something like that, you put yourself in that situation and clearly opened up something on purpose with using something like that. So I don't know if that equates. I don't think it equates as much going to see a movie like that personally. Do I think it opens something? Maybe a little bit, yeah. But not like a Ouija board. I mean, I think that's literally just straight. You're literally asking for it, you know?
Right. No, I
don't
feel
know.
you. And that's a good question to ask the question of is it the same as a Ouija board? Ouija or whatever, how you ever say the word. Because you like you got there is a difference because I mean if I guess it's all of it intentionality and what God does is he always looks at the heart and what the heart is doing. But what was I reading? I think it was on Sunday we were reading who were we reading about? Gosh darn it. Oh, son of a biscuit. Anyways, we were talking about this guy, and it talked about Jesus or God looking at the heart, but he also looks at the deeds. And that's one of the things I was like, the deeds. Like, it's not necessarily God, and that's what brings it back to, why not necessarily why a lot of people thought, or thought the way that they thought, but like, Jews believing that the way to heaven is your what do you call it, the what you do in this earth,
What your works are?
Yeah, your works is how you get to heaven. And it's like, well, then you look at Paul, and Paul's is you are saved by faith and faith alone. And I mean that's but then if you read James, and in James it talks about not by you were faith produces works, and that whole spiel. And so like those kind of different types of theology, well, it's not even theology, it's just what Christians believe, because you're not saved by works, but you're saved by faith. But good faith is produced. Oh gosh. But good faith is produced. A good faith produces works. A genuine faith produces works, is basically what they're saying. But in your works, it shows you what your faith is. Hi, Scarlett. Yeah, hi. I gotta do it slow.
You say hi.
Yeah. Hi. Matthew, you can't even hear what you're saying. If only you could
wet.
start.
It's all freaking wet now.
Yeah, because she probably licked the freaking thing.
Yeah, she was like, "Argh."
Gotta love it. You freaking gotta love it. I don't know, but like, yeah, I mean, that's where your works kind of come into the hands, like what your intentions are on everything, because God's looking at your heart. And it's not necessarily because what some people are looking at is your intentions of like the different types of works you're doing. Why are you doing this? What's the point of you doing this? Is it because you want to glorify yourself, or is it because you want to glorify God? Are you going to church because you want are you going to church, or are you volunteering at church because you want people to see how good of a Christian you are, or how good of a person you are? Or are you going to church because you want to get better, or because you want to help glorify God in everything that you do? And so that's the point of the works, is the heart. And so I think it all matters on the heart. So if you're going to a movie because, well, I need to review this movie, and this is one of the movies that people are going to see. Yeah. But then it brings the point, like with the Oogie board.
Ouija.
The Oogie board. And I mean, that is an intentionally device that is meant to try to interact with spirits. Bye. I love that girl.
Yeah, she's freaking awesome, man.
She's amazing. She's adorable.
She's a great child.
100%.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of. Have you heard of
Apologia Studios.
Yeah,
Of course, I've heard of Apologia Studios.
yeah.
Who do you think
Defense
it
Against
was?
the Dark Arts. I've been listening to a lot of Jeff Durbin.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
He's a
And
Calvinist, though. He's a big Calvinist.
big Calvinist.
Big Calvinist.
I didn't know, and maybe I just never paid attention. Jesus died, rose 3 days later, and then he lived on the earth for 40 days.
Yeah.
And then he
that?
went and left.
then
I didn't know he came back and lived for 40 days.
Yeah. You thought, it kind of, he was there for a while. Yeah.
40 days, man.
For 40 days.
And people
for
saw
a full
it.
month.
That's where it's crazy because that's an actual account that people can account for.
Yeah. That is
and it's
thinking about
how
that.
do you not think that Jesus is God? How do you not think that there's documents? There's I understand.
Okay, Matthew,
There's a pretty freaking good chance that that's God. If he says, "Hey, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna raise to life in 3 days,"
right.
and then he goes and does it. That's crazy to me.
Right. What would you say to somebody that would tell you, well, yeah, I believe that, but I also believe all religions lead to Christ or lead to heaven? What would you say? I mean, how would you respond to somebody like that?
That's wrong.
Well, why?
Like,
how do you
if
know?
You're worshiping the house of the spaghetti monster, you're worshiping the spaghetti monster. Intentionality of who you're worshiping is very important, and who you follow.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't there's clear distinctions as to why Mormonism's not true, and Muslim, or what was it? Is it Muslim? That's not the religion, is it?
No, it's Muslim.
Buddhist?
No, that's
Not
different.
Buddhist.
Buddhism is a different religion, but Muslims is a ethnicity type thing.
I don't know. I don't know enough about those religions to say, hey, I can't rule them out, if that makes sense. I don't know enough about it. But what I can say is there's enough information for me to make the determination that this Jesus that we're talking about is the living God.
He's the one and true God.
Yeah.
I think for me, I watch a lot of debates or different type of arguments for Christianity. Give me an answer. I told you them about Give Me the Answer, right?
Yeah.
And I love watching those guys go basically to college campuses and basically give the case for Christ. And they're not necessarily the people that go out and yell out, you're going to hell, necessarily. But those types of let me put out my case for Christ, because I think that's important, especially since we are these past few podcasts we have been pretty hammering down on that, and I think that's more of just who we are as a podcast, about who we are as people and individuals. And
I don't think we've shown how goofy we actually are, to be honest with you.
I think sometimes, yes, we've done some goofy things. But overall, I think we care more about our salvation and about and that's the big question in the human race is what's going to happen to us after we die, because there is so much unknown, and it's well, how can I prepare myself for that? And that's a good question. But like my case for Christ is that one of the oldest, longest religions in the world right now is Buddhism and Judaism. Okay. Christianity kind of goes into Judaism because Christianity is just a principle of people who created from Jesus. You know, that term came out from Jesus. So I would group Christianity with Judaism, and just because Judaism and Christianity kind of they've been with each other and they go hand in hand. So because those two are one of the oldest religions in the world, and then Judaism, you can look at the scholarship, the historical and the geographical accuracy of these books, because these books are putting they aren't just like saying what's right and what's wrong. I mean, there are things in the book that says what's right and what's wrong, but they're also saying they're telling you stories about historical events that are happening, that happened,
places that it happened
yeah,
at.
right. And that's where it comes to that accuracy of places and events that happen that are now being verified geographically. And so, I mean, let alone about, God or Jesus or anything like that. You can just look at the book and say, okay, these are accurate. They're showing some accuracy here. So there's something that we can listen to, and we can pretend that, or not pretend, but we can say, okay, this is accurate. How can I now look at this and say, now, what's the case? Why are you saying there's a God? And the being is that, when you look at Proverbs and you look at Psalms, and what they're saying is that the creation reveals his name. Creation shows who God is. If you look outside, if you think about it, about if there was a beginning and that there's an end, that means there was a creator. If there was something that had to be made, because we weren't just all particles floating in space, in time. And then all of a sudden, these two molecules join together at just the right amount of time and just the right amount of speeds. Because what I've been told about that is that the coincidence of that happening is the equivalent of a monkey going on a keyboard and smashing its hands on the keyboard and writing a masterpiece of like a play,
dissertation
or something like that. Yes, that's it. It had to be intentional. There was intention behind everything. I mean, and you look at the different like how small things are and how big things are. Like I was like scrolling through Instagram this week, and is it just me, or does Jesus look like he plays guitar for a heavy metal band? Well, it depends. Jesse Grigo. Depends. What kind of heavy metal you're listening to? But like, I mean, but
actually, is that an accurate
similarity?
I don't know if that's an accurate depiction of him. Is it?
No, I think nobody. I mean, you just think everyone has a depiction of what Jesus looked like. But like, I think some scholars came together and they like put a picture of what he would actually look like, and he's not a good looking guy, Jesus wasn't like a really good looking guy. He probably had short hair. I don't know what you can look it up. Will actually look like. Yeah, this is what some scholars would say he looks like. Let me share my screen here. It's a good question, though, Jesse. Because not a whole lot of
Who's
people.
that?
I have no idea. Don't ask me. Jesse Grigo is the man. He's asking the
Jesse
hard-hitting-
Grigo.
This is what they say he would look like. Yeah, but if it was like this, oh yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely played in a heavy metal band. 100%. Some people say he's, I don't know.
I feel like he would look like that, especially if he was in the middle, like Middle Eastern.
Yeah, I mean
Probably look.
he wasn't white for sure.
No,
Everybody knows that. Um, Look at that. The different types of Jesus, or this one. But yeah, I think I mean it doesn't matter what he looks like to me though.
no,
If we
yeah,
like Jesus, I don't think really there is one race in this whole point is that Jesus created is that we're all in this together. We're all humans together, and now we are one in Jesus. So I don't know. Yeah. And so my point for Jesus is Jesus is Lord. And but my point for Christianity and Jesus is that there had to be creator. There had to be a beginning. And there's a reason why that there was accuracy in the Bible from the beginning of from Genesis all the way to Revelations. To show the accuracy, and not even the accuracy, but the accountability that they had on the Bible and the people that wrote it. And it's crazy to think about all the, like what you said, like Jesus lived 40 days after, he lived and was playing, hanging out with everyone for 40 days after, he rose from the dead. And that account, is amazing, because that's a huge part. Because if Jesus didn't rise from the dead, he's not who he said he was. But he did. And for 40 days after, he hung out and played and was hanging out with everybody. And that account and the people he hung out with, it is incredible. And I don't know. It's just like, geez, man, like, let's go. Like, that's my Lord. Like, he can do all things. And screw the Evil Dead. The Evil Dead, it's got nothing on my Jesus, because that's not the Jesus that I worship. That's not the Evil Dead says that God wasn't able to cast out that demon. No, that's a hard no for me. Sorry, but I'm just gonna say it, dude. We're coming in hot.
we're coming in spicy.
Spicy, baby. So I don't know. That's what
I
I
wanted to ask you, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
No, it's okay.
I think
That
that
was
was a very good discussion for, like, seriously, like, it just hearing it from another perspective. In that's what I felt like all week personally. In feeling like, yes. So on Thursday night, okay, I had been struggling with my job.
Yep.
And I had been struggling with my job, and literally my wife and I, we were standing in the living room or in our kitchen, and I literally just got up. I was upset because I hadn't been doing very well. I have not been doing very well at my job lately. Not as good as I should be. And so there's a lot of pressure there. And I just stood up and literally raised my hands and prayed out loud. And that's something I haven't done really in my whole life. I just felt like it was really awkward. um, so I never was one of those types of people. I don't like raise my hand during church. I'd just rather be in the moment. And the next day, and I told God, I was like, look, I know you answer in different ways. Like, just help me be patient. Help me to, get back on track and provide and be a leader for my family. And the next day, like, God answered the prayer. I got two sales. I work in a sales job, and I got 2 sales the next day, which more than covered what I needed. And so it was just like an answer to prayers. And I was just like,
Yeah.
there's like, if there's a case for Christ, that's it right there. There ain't nothing that's gonna deter me away from that moment of being in just sheer vulnerability and letting God just do what he does. And so yeah, we went to go see this movie the next day, and so it was just good to. We got full circle. We went all the way up and down.
Oh gosh, dude. I can't believe. I don't know. I'm glad we're done with that, and we can basically move on now from that whole experience of the Evil Dead Rise. But I mean, like we were saying, like it wasn't a movie we would suggest to go to see for anybody. But I think the writers and everything did a good job. But it was for all the wrong reasons.
All for the wrong reasons.
All for the wrong reasons. So, yeah.
Yep. I wanted to ask you what. I mean, we're coming up pretty dang close to Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh baby,
like really freaking soon.
Friday, baby.
This Friday?
Yeah, May 5th.
Oh shoot.
We gotta go. We gotta make our plans, dude.
Yeah, we gotta make our.
We gotta make them plans.
Yeah. Should make our plans.
Yeah, dude.
So what we should do? Should I buy the tickets now or?
Yeah, dude.
Or,
I
or do you
am.
want...
I'm all in, dude. I'm all in. Let me look at my calendar. You keep talking. Let me look at my calendar. Real quick.
No, I was gonna say, upcoming movies. We got a lot of good stuff coming out. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. No, Away from the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, something of that. The Miles Morales, the second movie. That's coming out pretty soon here. Just a lot of good movies coming out here pretty soon. So I was just gonna say, like, what was your most anticipated, or what are you most excited for? Clearly, I think we both could probably agree it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is a huge point.
Spider-Man.
I think, yeah, I was going to say Spider-Man too, because that was, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think I'm really excited for this one just because it's going to be kind of the last hurrah for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I don't know. I think out of all of them, I don't know, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and actually, you know what? Just in superhero movies, that Blue Beetle, actually, that one, I didn't even know about it until we saw it at the
theatre.
Yeah, theater, and I was like, that actually looks pretty good. This looks like a DC movie that I am actually excited about, and it's one of those movies that it's kind of a new. They're bringing in some type, like, mixing basically Spider-Man and Iron Man together, and making a movie off of it. But it actually, like, just looks good. It looks like a movie that I would enjoy, and I'm actually excited to watch that one. The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I'm curious to see what that one's going to be. It's 2 hours long, so I loved the first one. My son loved it. I'm scared about Marvel and the fate of Marvel, and I think this is going to be, I don't know. Just talking in superhero, I'm not talking about just this year. I think I'm just talking about superhero movies in general going forward. I think DC is going to take over. I think with what's his name, the guy that directs Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn. I think he's going to kill it with this whole DC thing. And he's going to kill it, and people are going to love it. And then Marvel, they've already been going down. The only movies that have been keeping them up have been the previous phases movies, like from phase 1 or phase like what 3 or phase 2 movies that have been keeping them up. And so right now, I think DC is going to take over, starting, with The Flash. That's going to be a huge movie, and they did a good job with Shazam. But now, and I think that's just ramping them up for James Gunn. And I don't think Aquaman's going to be. I think Aquaman's going to be horrible.
Oh, horrible! Did you hear Amber Heard's coming back?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, why?
Oh my gosh, get me out! I'm definitely not seeing it now.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that at all. Like, nobody wants to see her, especially. I don't know. I was like, that was such a bad move.
It's a waste of money for them,
right? And I don't like what's his face's name, the Jason Momoa. I think that guy's an idiot. But I mean, whatever. Who cares what I think? I don't think he's a good actor at all. But
No.
people are head over heels for the guy.
I think it's I think it's already a jeopardy to his career that they bring her back personally, because it's like you got to think that whole situation. She lost. I mean, she lost 100%. Defamation. She
100%.
lost, and ruined Johnny Depp's career. If I were Jason Momoa, I'd be like, nope, I don't want her on this movie. I'm the main character of the movie, right? Like, we can kill her off. We don't need her, Like, let's figure it out. So,
right,
that's just my thought. I think it's a very dangerous detriment to his career.
What do you think about James Gunn now with the new? He just released the movie that he's going to basically start with Superman Legacy coming out in 2 years.
I don't know. I think they just need to reset everything.
I know you do think that.
I think they just need to restart everything, man. I think it's not beneficial for them to they're going to try to scourge up what they have. They're getting rid of their best players. Best actors. I said players. They're getting rid of their best actors when it comes to, what's his name? Guy who plays Superman, right? We get rid of Ben Affleck, who had been a pretty prominent piece. Ultimately, I just don't see it being beneficial, and it's not going to get them out of where they need to be. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, we both already have, and
we have talked about this many of times. We disagree,
so many times,
and that's okay.
But I mean, what do you think? You think this is you don't think this is a good choice for them to go with making this movie? Do you think though? What do you think about what approach do you think that you might be taking with this Superman movie? Like, do you think this is going to be an origin story? Do you think this is going to be a story that they're going to basically set up for the new DC universe?
I mean, I think if they're going to bring in the multiverse, then yeah, they have to bring a new story. I think if that's what they're trying to do, if they're trying to do the Marvel shtick and they're bringing in brand new characters, brand new actors, yeah, we need a backstory, right? If Michael B. Jordan comes in and plays Superman, right? Like, they've talked about this guy before playing Superman. That's fine with me. But this is a completely different character. I'd like to know the backstory of this individual. Yes, it could be similar, but this is how you build a new world. This is what they have to do. They can't keep the same stuff as previous.
Do you think he should go the same way as Marvel did at the beginning, starting with like Iron Man and then working? Characters.
I think it's cheesy, but yeah, I think Marvel had the head up on it. Personally, man, like, that was such a smart idea. I think it was a smart idea for them to start with that. and then they introduced Avengers later, way later, versus like what they've done with the new DCEU is that they literally started with Man of Steel. That was the only origin story for the most part, and then they jumped into Justice League for the most part. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, that's 100%. I
they
don't
just
think
didn't
they.
set it
I
up.
don't think. I hope he doesn't go that route, and I'm sure that's he is against that, especially with him being involved with Marvel so much, and especially with Guardians, and then he was part of the Infinity War, and getting to hear all that background, especially with what's his name, John LaFavre or whatever. Uh, but those guys are, you gotta take in what they're saying and then kind of twist it your own way. And I think with James Gunn, he's gonna twist this in a way that's gonna be his own. I mean, and that's, he's not gonna go just with what
I'll
was
make
successful
here's what it is.
for Marvel. He's gonna do something, yeah, probably
I'll lay
similar
it
to
out for him.
Marvel.
I'll lay it out. Okay. I'm gonna lay this out for him. This is what he's gonna have to do.
Okay.
If he gets rid of any character, he has to get rid of all of them. Okay. Because if they're bringing in a whole new universe, right? You get rid of everybody. You don't just get rid of. You don't get rid of Superman. I forget his name. The guy who plays Super. You don't get rid of that guy
I don't think they
and
have
keep
anybody
everybody
chosen
else.
for Superman yet.
You just don't.
You
Okay.
talk about Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill. They got rid of him.
Yeah.
They don't. He's not a Superman anymore. So if you
Yeah,
get rid of him, you've got to rehaul everybody, because
right.
first off, he carried the DCEU.
100%. 100%.
Okay, like he carried it. He was a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Really held the show. Now they've got to get a whole new cast, right? Like, like he has carried. We've been trained to realize, hey, he's going to carry it. When he comes in, he's going to be better than everybody else. We need to match that energy, right? Like we need to match that acting ability, and I think that's the only way that they're going to be able to get out. I don't care. Like the story, obviously, like yes, get some origin stories in there. Don't just randomly bring up cyborgs. Like don't randomly bring in Aquaman to Justice League, right? Like you can't do that. Give us a backstory beforehand, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, Justice League came out before everybody, or before they introduced the other characters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. They kind of
Okay.
just throw it through everyone.
They just threw it out there. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm not going crazy then. Okay. So my
No.
logic is somewhat not flawed. But yes, I think if that's how they're going to do it, I think that's what they're going to have to do to make it successful long term, which is what they have to do, right? They have to think long term. They can't think of what's a cash grab now, right? You can't do that. Can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't do that right now. You got to think, hey, this may not be a big hit right now, but when we build out this world, things will be different.
Okay, but now we have to, I mean, you have to recast everyone. And now you have to figure out, we got to get a guy who looks like Superman, is going to have the perplexity and the like, that just looks like Superman. It's not necessarily like a strong man.
There's many different
as
options,
well
I
as
guess.
you have to have a guy that isn't going to have problems outside of his acting in his personal life. And I think DC needs that 100% after what's his face, the Flash guy. What's his name? The guy that plays Flash? His name is Ezra Miller. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep, get him out. Get him out. Get him out.
But I mean, would you let?
I don't like him. I
no
don't like
one
him.
likes him. Okay, but then now you got to pick a new guy.
I
What
know.
do you think? What about? Hear me out. Zac Efron. as
Zac
Superman.
Efron?
Would you
Zac
think-
Efron.
Yeah, Zac Efron.
I think he like broke his jaw though, dude.
Yeah, he had to get a whole new restructured, I thought. But like, I mean, he look at him now. Like, it might be over the top. That might be over the top too much. As a,
Could happen. Could work.
I don't know. I'm trying to put my. He's got the blue eyes. That's for sure. But like, who would be that new Superman guy to be just a solid actor / solid dude, what if I don't know. No. Christian Bale, no. I don't know. Who would be a good Superman, new Superman?
Pedro Pascal.
I mean,
I would
true.
love that.
What I
obviously,
mean, would you
but-
be okay with a black Superman too? If they changed that up. What if they changed the ethnicity to a black Superman? Because that's something they haven't done.
True. It's true.
And yeah.
That's true.
But would you be fine with that? Because I mean, Superman is
If
known
I
for
had to
he
pick
being a white guy. It's not like I don't know.
Look, I'm
I'm-
of the nature of like if we what does the race like why are we changing the race? What's the point of it? Right? Like why? Why would you do that? Right? Like the only reason you do that is you're trying to make a point or a statement, right? That's why you do that. Especially with like a character like that, right?
What?
Imagine
Sorry, keep going. I'm imagining. Okay, I got a point,
imagine
but
we
go ahead.
make Martin Luther King and we flip the whole scenario and it's all white
Mhm.
people and he's white and then
Mhm.
black people, right? That
Okay.
like people would be very upset about that situation, right? Because it's like you don't change that character because he's an iconic character.
Okay,
So that's where I'm lost. You know what I mean?
I guess Martin Luther King, I think, is a bad example because he's an actual historical figure. Superman is a fictional character that we're making up, basically.
A fictional character that was created by someone.
Yes, created by
And
somebody.
created by somebody in intention or made it in the way they wanted it to
but
be.
okay, so
created.
then what? My point is, then why don't give it to the best actor?
I don't know. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Why not give it to the guy that you think is going to do the best job? And it doesn't matter about the ethnicity. And I get what your point, though. I get what your point is, because some people use the point of like, well, we have to use diversity and we need that. And that's I agree. That's wrong. You should, but I think you should point the best actor, and it shouldn't necessarily matter about, if they're black, Indian, or whatever.
I don't know.
But
for an example, like, what if you made Black Panther white?
Right.
Yeah, people would be very upset about that.
People would be very upset about that.
They'd be like, just keep it the way it is.
But right, and that's where I would be okay. That's where I would object and say, okay, when somebody would change that, and I would go back like, what if we made Black Panther a white guy? They wouldn't be happy about that. But I think if you have the right people, and if you give the person the best, who is doing the best job, and you think is the right position for this, I think you give it to that person.
Yes, I do think so. Like, I agree with you, but if your intention and your sole purpose was to just do it because of diversity reasons, then that's not the intention of it, right? Like with Ariel in Disney.
Yep.
Like, you didn't do that because that you had the best actress.
Oh yeah. Same thing with Peter Pan. Oh, dude.
Peter Pan.
Did you watch the new Peter? I told you about that, right?
I did not. No.
I told you about it, right? I went and watched it for like. It was just I couldn't finish like the first 20 minutes of it, because it was just like the kid actors were bad.
The Lost Boys are now the Lost Girls.
Well, they call themselves the Lost Boys, but there's girls in them, and like, okay, well, and then it's very intentional for why they do that, because they very much address it. It's just like, if you're going to do that, you don't necessarily need to address it, but give it to the best actors. And I guarantee you that there were so many better kid actors than the ones that they chose. And I guarantee you that Disney had enough money to pay those kids. They're kids, they don't need that much money. But yeah, you could have gotten way better actors than with some of the kids you chose. It's frustrating, especially Peter Pan, because I love Peter Pan. I grew up in love with Peter Pan. I read some of his books, and I freaking loved it. And it was just not fun. I mean, and to be honest though, I think one of the best actors, ironically, and I really believe this, was the guy with the Down syndrome. And I love that they had the Down. I didn't think he should have been on there. And even if they didn't cast people based, to fill the what do you call it? The freaking
diversity.
Yeah, the diversity checklist thing. That he should have been on it for sure, because he was a great actor. He did an amazing job, and he took his role serious. Some of those kids didn't really take his role serious. They were just trying, you got to pick the best actors. You got to pick the best people to be in these roles. This is Hollywood. This is, us, putting our best foot forward. And I felt like they didn't put their best foot forward at all in this. And I was very disappointed, and I couldn't, I had to stop. I stopped watching it, and wasn't for me. Was not for me. And I couldn't finish it. Still, I'm not. I don't think I
mean, if you're not gonna watch it, I'll probably not watch it. I still think you should watch A Week Away, because there's no wokeness in it. But yeah.
Yeah, I did watch A Week Away technically at your house.
And it's a week away. I've got the feeling everything's about to change. My child is so addicted to this movie, and it's like,
I can't believe that you're what?
I'm indoctrinating her with Jesus. But anyway, I I know we talked a lot about different stuff here, but I've got to make some lavatory changes. So we're gonna cut this a little bit early. Gotta go to the restroom. But ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 17. We truly, truly, truly appreciate you guys. If you could leave a comment, like all of our stuff, and also write a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, so that way we know, like, hey, people are watching, but also so we can read your messages. We can, hey, give us constructive criticism. Like, like both of Regan and I, we play college football. Like we could take constructive criticism. You guys tell us that, hey, we're not doing a very good job at this or this or this. Like, we're gonna take it and we're gonna apply it. Like, that's just what we do. So just let us know. Follow our socials. We are still doing a giveaway. 100 followers on Instagram. We're giving away some action figures. Follow us on subscribe on YouTube. Yeah. Did I miss anything? Twitch? Anything else?
I think
I got everything for the most part.
I think that's it. I think you did it, dude. Congrats.
Sweet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our episode number 17. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
For listening to the Double G Show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Goof and Goober Show. And why don't you check out our Instagram page at The Goof and Goober Show for even more content and drop a follow. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.